investigation on the matters which happened in USA.
देखिए, अब अमेरिका में अगर लॉबिंग अलाउड है और अमेरिका में वॉलमार्ट ने अगर उस संबंध में कोई खर्च किया है तो वो अपने अमेरिकन के सेनेटर्स को किया है, उससे भारत की अपनी संप्रभुता पे या भारत में कोई उस फैसलों के निर्णयों पर कैसे कोई प्रभावित कर सकता है, मैं समझता हूँ इसका प्रश्न नहीं है।
Well, I have no knowledge of this. Walmart is doing, I believe, from what I hear from your reports, is been doing some exercise and looking at their own internal operations, given that there is a law in America that doesn't allow people, American companies, to be using money in an unwholesome manner. And I think that's an internal inquiry. If something comes of it, I'm sure that'll be available to us as well.
Today, the same news report, the same congressional figures, has also revealed that one of India's largest companies has not spent any money with its lobbying agency in the US during the same quarter which is under review. So it is not an untoward kind of expense. And as I said, the expense is not declared as for India, but it is declared among countries which it is working for. That's the first point. The second point is that what is being done is legal and it is part of what the Congress reveals as figures. So it is part of their parliamentary proceedings or records. The third issue we have to keep in mind is that this is something that countries need to do. They need to do it because the kind of situation that today India finds itself in Mali vis-a-vis the GMR investment is also the result of, in a sense, inappropriate and inadequate lobbying by the Indian government by the Indian companies in Mali. So I think if one looks at all these issues, there is a certain context in which this figure needs to be understood.
Well, the report has raised several questions that the government will find it hard to answer. The first, whether there is a letter trail that exists between the government and the retailer. Second, whether the government has given any assurances to the retailer on opening up retail in FDI. Should the government release to the public what the US government petitioned from India? Should the government probe bribery charges before dismissing them? And can the Indian government be challenged over US laws that allow lobbying? Headlines Today's political editor Javed Ansari now joins us for more on this story. Javed, is it absolutely conclusively proven that all the lobbying took place only in the US and that there were no Indians who were involved?
Padmaja, this is an issue, or this is a question only the government of India can answer. But yes, these revelations, while they will not make any practical difference as far as the implementation of FDI is concerned, because FDI has passed muster in both houses of parliament, this will certainly lead to greater cynicism and also to kinds of insinuation and misgivings that people may have had in their minds about a lot, certain wrongdoings or extra pressure having been brought to bear on parliamentarians to vote in favor of FDI. Now, but all this will depend on whether these allegations can be substantiated, they can be proved, but whether that happens or not, that's a legal requirement. At least in the minds of people, this will lead to further questions.
In fact, Javed, even if there is no evidence of anyone having been bribed in India or any lobbying having been done with people in India, the fact remains that the impression would only gain ground that the Indian government was under considerable pressure from the US, where senators were lobbied by the likes of Walmart. 125 crore rupees spent on putting that pressure on India.
Well, most certainly it would lend credence to that kind of insinuation and allegation, unless, of course, the government of India can come out, and the government of India must come out. I underline, it must come out and ensure and provide evidence that everything was done in a transparent manner, that the decision was not subject to any kind of pressure or elements from abroad or within the country, and that the government of India took the decision that it did in the interest of the people and not for any other consideration.
Absolutely. It was